Welcome to this screencast. We are going to see what we can find on the OCR website for the GCSE in ICT coursework. As you can see, I've just googled OCR GCSE ICT, and this is the first link from 2012. That's the one we want. So if we open it, that takes us here, and let's scroll back up, and down. There's plenty of documents. Now all these are freely available on the OCR website. There's no need for any form of teacher password. I haven't got one myself, so you can have a look and see for yourself what you think of what they put there. What's really interesting, if you scroll down to teaching and learning resources into support material, we are going to find down there some zip files. Now the one I've had a look at for this screencast is for unit B062 practical application in ICT. So I've already downloaded this folder, and if we have a look inside it, we got all those files down here. You've got some marking, some example of marking for a high banded response, and then there's example of coursework for the material that OCR released when they created this new GCSE. Well, at the time when it was new. Let's first have a look at this high banded candidate response. So I've got it open here. Right, so this is what it would look like when your work will be graded. Teachers is going to highlight where they think your writing fits within the description, within these bands that have been written by OCR themselves, and then they're going to try to do a best fit between what you've got on in this case the medium band and then the high band. Over there we got the teacher comments. Now in the case of this example here, you've got more than one teacher comment, more than one example of teacher comments. So here you got example of medium high band, another medium high, a medium down here, and a high band. What is interesting to see is how many times the words thorough, detailed, wide range come back in the wording for the high band. So here you go, the candidate has produced a design specification including detailed measurement success criteria, a detailed plan for the proposed solution. If I take a look at some of the other ones, we are going to find enhanced solution, clear sense of purpose, and then let's find the one. It's going to be another page further down where we are going to have some other keywords. You've got detailed again, different sources. Now that's important. So essentially the idea is that you're going to use every method you know, you're going to leave no stones unturned in your coursework in order to hit this high band. And over here we have another one that's very important to have a look at. Evidence to show some limitation have already been dealt with. So if you found some issue with your work when you create it, or when you test it, or when you evaluate it, and you can prove that you've already have done something to tackle at least one of these issues, that would help you tick that requirement for the high band. And also, if you have found some limitation but you know what to do and you can write a recommendation, so you haven't had time to implement this, but you would suggest to do this and that in order to solve a problem you've identified, that would also contribute towards hitting the high band. Now we're going to have a look at some example work provided by OCR for us, and again freely available on their website. So this is the development evidence of creating the spreadsheet project. As you know, I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint, and then here is a perfect example why. Because in this page, it's obvious that the candidate has been restricted by the size of a screen and started to have to pile one print screen on top of another and to rely on arrows to show what each print screen is about and to be able to link the annotation to a specific print screen. I much prefer if you use a multi-page Word document and you just put your first print screen first with the annotation underneath it, and then you move on to the next print screen. You don't need, this way you use a lot fewer arrows, and it's just as easy, if not easier, to read your work. If you have a look at third slide, we are going to find here in the annotation that the candidate has used validation in the Excel spreadsheet. So, oops, I don't want to move it, I want to highlight it. Added an error message, so if the user tried to input incorrect value. Now this is going to help with using one technique in Excel. It will also contribute into the testing of the solution, because you, especially for high mark band, you will have to test for correct values, incorrect values, and abnormal values, which I'll probably do another screencast for the testing part when we get to it. Page 5, we're going to find something about justify. Yes, so something as simple as naming a cell range. So this is not a very complicated operation there, but there's a whole page, a whole print screen, and most importantly, this is a chance for the candidate to write a justification paragraph. Again, this is a small contribution towards this high mark band that was achieved by this specimen work. On the other hand, if I click, let's say, well, let's have a quick look at 6 and then show you 7, now suddenly there's no annotation anymore. Okay, there's a bit of text at the top, but we can all see that this slide is just not as strong as the rest of the work. So whenever you do a print screen, always try to annotate, always try to do something to show that to the examiner that you're in full control of the work you're producing. Page 9. So somewhere in here we also have some justification. The index function was used because values from combo boxes cannot be used in links from other worksheets. So they use the index function instead. So this is again an example of justification within the evidence of a work, and again that's going to contribute towards a high mark band. Page 12. Now here is something we hinted at when we looked at the marking criteria. When I got someone to test my system, they didn't like, so there's some evidence of feedback from a user. So I added conditional formatted, so the errors didn't show up. So this is an example of how they've improved their work following some testing. Again, a small contribution to this high mark band, but every one of these small contributions does add up, and eventually that's what the high mark band is going to be based on. On page 13 we also have something. So justification of all the data in one screen. Now again, it's not something amazingly complicated that's been evidenced there, but it's a chance to write a justification paragraph based on the simple fact that it is easier to do the calculation if you have all the data in the same place rather than pull it from loads of different spreadsheets. But what's really good is that the candidate evidence that they really know what they are doing, even if it's something as simple as create one extra sheet in order to bring together all the data you need. In 14 we've got a link to a mail merge down here. Now in the case of this work, because they use loads of different documents to evidence their work, so the mail merge document is a separate document, but in the next slide they do print screen show you how the mail merge was created. Now again, very simply, if you look here, I can't highlight it with as this is an image, but if you look at what has been print screened and you read the explanations here, it's simply, I typed it relevant headings for the data. So what is evidence is not overly complicated, and the candidate has taken the time to annotate even something as simple as a heading when you're doing a mail merge, but this is evidence that this person really knows what they are writing about. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this useful and then give you some confidence for starting your own coursework.